Today I'll be sharing tips to... Hey, what's that? Misdirect the audience. Hello! I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through writing metaphors. There are plenty of books and shows that my wife and I get bored with because we know what's going to happen hundreds of pages or entire episodes before the inevitable occurs. The pacing and storytelling all point to mysteries with obvious solutions that don't trust their audience. When hours later the characters catch up despite knowing the same amount of information as us, the audience, it isn't some great aha moment, but rather oh, the writers did that yet again. When this happens enough times in a series, I stop reading and watching it. Take your standard epic fantasy where the main character goes off on a great adventure after being grabbed by the hand of destiny. More often than not, they're the long-lost prince or princess, or someone born with great power based on who their parents are. Or they're a close friend of said important person. This is similar to how the second of three people the police investigate in a crime drama is the guilty one. We know by the nature of storytelling that the murderer has to be someone we've seen on screen. Otherwise, if the murderer is someone the audience could never guess, that's bad storytelling and failed misdirection that falls flat on its face. Anyways, the first suspect is too obvious, the second one has an alibi, and the third provides new information that negates the second person's alibi. Another name for crime dramas are police procedurals. They feel good because they follow regular beats. That's a nice snack every so often, but I want to sink my teeth into something new and unexpected that catches me off guard. I want to be uncomfortable. Basically, I don't want to know what's going to happen in a story. How can we as writers misdirect an audience to make them care again? Well, it's complicated. Too much misdirection and no one gets it. Too little misdirection and it feels like a routine story. Here are my 5 tips to pull off that narrow gray area of misdirecting an audience. Number 1, mystery within a mystery. Make the obvious mystery be obvious, yet have some underlying truth hidden beneath it. I don't want to spoil the most recent season of Stranger Things because it was an emotional roller coaster that was fantastically pulled off, so I'm going to lightly dance around it. There were 3 major mysteries that all came together in episode 7. I won't go into the specifics, but my wife figured out the first one almost immediately, and I guessed the second one pretty soon thereafter. Those were only the surface mysteries though. That's because the third mystery, the one which tied the first 2 together, wasn't fully obvious until the episode in which it was revealed. Although, by the nature of storytelling and twin plot threads that are going on simultaneously, it should have been obvious that everything was connected. So that I'm not being entirely vague here and offer up actual writing advice, here's a made-up example of a mystery within a mystery. Take a supernatural crime drama where the obvious killer is a vampire. They are the first and obvious suspect, yet they can't be the killer, otherwise the book/TV show will be over in the first 10 minutes. Except that they are going out of their way to distract the wizard detective investigating them. The mystery beneath the mystery is why the vampire would cover for another killer, even if they might be taken in for a crime they didn't commit. In this made-up example, the solution is that the real killer is making ritualistic sacrifices to prevent an eldritch horror from being unleashed. Thus, the vampire knows that if the killer stops killing, the world will end. The vampire is knowingly sacrificing themselves to protect the killer who is preventing the apocalypse through bloodshed. That is a unique mystery I would love to unravel. And lastly, number 5, commit. This will be a spoiler-filled analysis of The Prestige and how astute audience members could guess one of the mysteries. For anyone who hasn't watched The Prestige, you should check it out. It stars the actors who played Alfred, Wolverine, and Batman as they go through progressively more dangerous performance illusion shows. If you haven't watched it yet, skip ahead to this timestamp. The spoilers come in 3, 2, 1. I'm coming out swinging. There are more than enough clues within the movie to figure out that one of the magicians is a twin well before it's revealed. He all but winks at the camera as he explains how a different illusionist is able to perform their trick, where they're really super strong and that the performance begins after the show when they walk around with a cane and a limp. This plays with our audience expectations. We see an old man hunched over and using a cane to get around, and assume that he can't pull off the feats of strength required to perform the illusions, namely carrying a filled water tank between his legs. Much like that other illusionist, the main characters were able to perform their own illusions by committing entirely to the role, both on and off the stage. The obvious solution, namely that the main character is a twin, is the best explanation for how everything happened. Yet the story, much like its main characters, commits entirely to the mystery and obscures it through movie magic and misdirection. Number 2, don't follow regular story beats. By the nature of storytelling, there's a limited number of characters we can get emotionally invested in, and there's a limited number of events we can reasonably go through. Thus, seemingly unrelated events are likely connected by being included in the same story. If twin plot threads take place in multiple time periods, they're likely still entwined. This could be how we get the details of a serial killer's first victim, and then jump ahead to 2 decades later where a detective is finally about to catch them. Or this could reveal the main character's rise to power in their youth, while also exploring them as a middle-aged adventurer who's no longer naive to the dangers of the world. What if instead of following the same detective investigating the same killer, the twin plot threads in 2 different time periods are only thematically similar? Meaning, what if we follow the detective improving their skills through loosely similar cases, and at the end of the second one, they're killed and their protege takes over? That might be abrupt, but told in an interesting way that could be a great way to pass the torch to a younger generation. Number 3, tree within a forest. In short, apply the opposite of the expression, can't see the forest for the trees. Long lists work well here. For example, if the main character notices 5 things, make it be the 4th one that's the most important. Thus, the minor yet essential detail gets lost among many. This leads right into number 4, overshadowing with red herrings. When important details are being discovered, make them feel less important compared to the character's driving interests. I'm about to spoil a fun, critical clue for the first Harry Potter book. If you don't want it spoiled for you, or don't want to hear it, then jump ahead to this timestamp. Spoiler alert for the first Harry Potter book in 3, 2, 1. Hermione, in an effort to protect Harry Potter, caught Snape's cloak on fire during a Quidditch match. We were so focused on Snape the Red Herring, we didn't realize within the commotion how Professor Quirrell was knocked over. He was the real one who was putting Harry's life in danger. Those are my 5 tips for misdirecting an audience. As a bonus honorable mention, have faith in the audience. Don't dumb down a story by excessively repeating missable clues. Trust that they'll be able to catch certain hints. And trust that if they do miss these hints, it's not the end of the world and it won't break the story. Not every reader is equally observant. I often find that stories which require a second read through to get that critical clue are often better written than those which broadcast every detail to ensure all of its readers always understand what's happening. I prefer to be rewarded for paying attention rather than feeling like I'm being talked down to. This is why critique partners, beta readers, and editors are so important. They can tell us when there's too many clues or too few. I'm Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write. If you enjoy my thoughts on toying with audience expectations, then please press those like and subscribe buttons. Let me know in those comments what tricks you use to misdirect readers. Do you agree with my opinions, or is everything I said wrong? I post my running and writing progress on Instagram and Twitter as Running to Write, so be sure to follow me and join in with your own thoughts. Don't forget to sign up for my Writing to Write monthly newsletter for regular updates on my assorted musings, pitfalls, and lessons learned. For added incentive to sign up, I'll be including the first 2 chapters of the sequel to Falling Through as a freebie. As an added bonus, I'm planning to include links to my outtake videos within my newsletter. For those who think I run a clean show here without making too many mistakes, let me burst that bubble. Please be warned though, these videos will be F-bomb laden as I yell at myself to do better. I have close to 50 clips from most of the first 50 episodes, so I'll be releasing them in groups of 5. I'll also be incorporating these outtakes into my Ko-fi page, where I'll likely be putting them there first, and then the next month I'll be sending them out in the newsletter. See you next time. Until then, do the unexpected.